I'm Christo Brand. I was one of the prisoner warders on Robben Island. When I arrived on Robben Island, they didn't tell us anything about Mandela. They just told us we're going to meet the biggest criminals in the history of South Africa. I was expecting people with tattoo faces, gangsters, people misbehaved, and they told us the guys in this prison is mostly in for life sentences. The first day when I opened the cells, I read his names, Andrew Mangeni, Walter Sisulu, Nelson Mandela. I read his names, but I didn't recognize who is this person. What happened where I grew up on a farm, I was one day disrespectful to the elder African man where my father said, the person can be black but a human being like us. God has made us all different colors, different look alike, we must respect each other. So I grew up with that respect. When I came on Robben Island and I see these elderly people, what type of respect they respect me as a young person. I was 19 years old then. And think back about elderly people. My father said we must respect each other. That is how I started to become friended the old prisoners like Mandela and others. But where our relationship really started, the day when I hand over a baby to him. I smuggled this baby for him. How emotional was at that moment. He was a very person with very neat and very disciplined and everything. But that moment when he take the baby out of my arms, he kissed a child, you could have seen he was like a broken man. That becomes me feel he loved children and we become friended. You know, when I started working in the sales office, I understand what I was fighting for. We want discrimination out in our country, and my father always said the biggest crime in our country was discrimination against color. And that is Mandela also fight for, discrimination against color, but also equal rights and all these things. But the first time when Mandela really talked to me, that was here in 1985, 83, 84, around that time at Paulsmoor prison. He talked to me and asked me, Mr. Brand, do you know the Freedom Charter? Do you know what the ANC stands for? Then he started giving me some little bit background. By that time I knew already everything about the organization. He never tried to motivate me to join. He just explained to me what they stand for, not a violence organization. I was not feared because he was many years in prison. I know he's not a police pimp or whatever, and I could have trusted him the way I've seen him and observed him. And I know his background, he was a lawyer, and a lawyer must keep a trust. He pleaded trust. And then I was also keeping bread at home for him. There was letters I show him from time to time, which he gave it back because I tell him in advance, Mandela, this letter you're not allowed to see this letter we must destroy. But I want you to see the letter. Mandela was very clever. He read the letter, he handed it back to me, I can destroy the letter, as if I have not seen it. But at the same time, when I have a visit, he will tell his visitor, maybe his wife, and he said, last night I've got a dream. Just sent for Molly Blackburn a message, I think of her. That is just a sign that you have read the letter, without nobody know that it was a letter from Molly Blackburn. You will send a message like that through. His discipline. He was a very disciplined person. A person will always try to pressurize even his enemy to study. And his major thing in prison, you try to change the Robben Island into university. And this humbleness, you know, but if he wants something, he was a fighter. He was not just giving up. If maybe you request to the warders which said no, you request to the head of the prison which said no, then you want to ask the head office, and he will try to push this thing forward so far as possible. I asked Mandela after his release, Mandela, when he was president, don't you hate the white people of the country? And even the warders in Robben Island. He said, Mr. Brand, I can never hate the white people of the country. I can hate the system which is in place, oppress one another. That I can hate. But not white people because I've got comrades which is white. But he never held a grudge against the warders. He was very upset about certain warders and things happened on Robben Island, but never kept a grudge against them. He was like a father figure, an elderly person, always want to give you advice when you have a problem, maybe talk to you. He was a person with good advice. He would help. And he was a person, He will give his last away for others, to make others happy around him. He was that type of person who will rather stay without things to make people around him happy. One of the favorite memories is when we visited, me, my wife, and my son and my grandchild. And that day when we greet him, he asked my wife and my son if they can excuse me and Mr. Brand for a few minutes. He wanted to speak personally with me, one-on-one. And I was thinking, what was the old man want to tell me? Then he was worried about my health. He first touched my stomach, and he said, Mr. Brand, you must get you a big ball. You must roll in that ball, exercise. You know, if you were a healthy and thin stomach, you can become a very old person. You can have a very healthy life. And that was something I will never forget. The one, there's a few, I can't recall them now by exact words, but I will say never, never again let one oppress one another in this country. That quote. I still work for Robben Island. Like I said, this year should have been 40 years back I started on Robben Island. I worked 20 years for the museum the end of June, and I asked for early retirement to leave the end of July, just to be not on a permanent working basis, but still keep me busy with Mandela's legacy, still try to bring tourism to South Africa, take them on private tours to Robben Island, and there's a lot of options like a helicopter. People want me to take a tour, fly over Robben Island for dignitaries, over Paulswood Prison, to Victor Sterret Prison, the footsteps of Mandela. And we're also planning, have discussions where we want to take people inside Paulswood Prison. But that will happen between 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock when all criminal prisons is locked. Because we must still make up that cell again back, that people can see where Mandela was incarcerated alone during discussions. Taking to places like on Paulswood Prison was a house where we met the Eminence Prison Group. Maybe have some functions there, take him to the mess. Savernaki, the presidential place where Mandela had his first discussions. We can show people out these places.